This shouldn't work. A $6,000 drone with the processing power of a smartphone, finding and destroying a target that a $2 million guided missile might miss. No radar, no heat-seeking, no sophisticated AI brain. And yet these things have a hit rate that's concerning military planners worldwide. When I started researching loitering munitions, I expected to find cutting-edge autonomous targeting systems. What I actually found was far more clever, and honestly, more unsettling. After this video, you'll understand exactly how suicide drones find their targets, why the technology isn't what you think it is, and the one principle that makes these weapons nearly impossible to defend against. Let's get into it. Here's the fundamental problem with hitting a target from the sky. You need to do 4 things in sequence: find the target, identify what it is, track it as it moves, and guide your weapon all the way to impact. Miss any step, and you miss. Traditional guided missiles solve this with expensive seekers, infrared sensors that cost $50,000, radar systems that weigh hundreds of pounds, or laser designators that require boots on the ground. But here's the constraint that changes everything. You can't fit any of that onto a drone that weighs 5 pounds and costs less than a used Honda Civic. So how do you build a precision weapon without precision sensors? Keep that in mind, because everything that follows builds on this. For decades, the military solved targeting the expensive way. GPS-guided bombs like the JDAM can hit a fixed coordinate within 15 feet, cost about $25,000 per bomb. The problem? They can only hit where a target was when you programmed the coordinates. Moving targets drive away. Laser-guided munitions track a laser dot painted by a soldier or aircraft. Incredibly accurate. But now you need someone close enough to illuminate the target, and that person becomes a target themselves. Heat-seeking missiles follow thermal signatures, but a tank that's been sitting still for an hour has the same heat signature as the ground around it. And a $3 million missile chasing a $200 decoy flare is an expensive mistake. Every solution required either expensive sensors, external support, or both. That solved the accuracy problem, but created another even larger one. So what do you do when you need precision targeting and a disposable price point? This is where it gets genuinely clever. Here's how loitering munitions actually work. 3 core principles. Principle 1. Time as a weapon. Traditional missiles have seconds to find their target. Fire. And forget. The seeker has maybe 30 seconds of flight time to acquire, identify, and track. Loitering munitions flip this completely. A Switchblade 600 can circle for 40 minutes. An Israeli Harop can loiter for over 6 hours. Think of it like the difference between a photograph and surveillance footage. A photograph captures one moment. Miss it, and you miss everything. Surveillance footage captures everything that happens. You can rewind. You can wait. The drone doesn't need to find the target immediately. It can wait for the target to move, to start its engine, to reveal itself. Time is no longer a constraint. It's a weapon. Principle 2. The human is the seeker. Here's something most people don't realize. The expensive part of a guided missile isn't the explosives. It's the autonomous brain that can identify friend from foe, reject decoys, and make targeting decisions in milliseconds. Loitering munitions skip this entirely. They stream live video back to an operator who's sitting miles away with a tablet. The operator sees what the drone sees in real time. That operator, a trained human, does the finding, the identifying, and the initial tracking. The drone is just eyes in the sky. The most sophisticated pattern recognition system on Earth isn't artificial intelligence. It's the human brain, and it works for the cost of a data link. The Switchblade sends back live video at 30 frames per second. An operator can recognize a T-72 tank versus a civilian truck instantly, something that would require millions of dollars of AI development to do autonomously. In Principle 3, that's where the real genius comes in. Principle 3. Terminal autonomy. Here's the vulnerability of human control. Data links can be jammed. Video feeds can lag if the operator is controlling every moment of flight. 1 second of lost connection means a missed target. So loitering munitions split the job. The human operator does the finding and identifying. They fly the drone toward the target. But in the final seconds, the terminal phase, the drone takes over. Its onboard camera locks onto the image of the target, and simple tracking algorithms keep it centered until impact. This is far simpler than autonomous targeting from scratch. The drone isn't trying to find a tank among dozens of vehicles. It's just trying to keep one specific shape in the center of its camera frame. A $50 chip can do that. The Lancet 3 uses this exact approach. Operator guides it to within about 300 feet, locks the camera onto the target, and the drone handles the final seconds autonomously. Even if jamming cuts the data link, the weapon still hits. Can you see how each principle solves a specific impossibility? But here's what nobody asks about those final seconds. What happened when the target moves behind a building? What happened when smoke obscures the camera? What if a civilian walks into frame? This is the unsolved problem of loitering munitions, and it's created some serious unintended consequences. The terminal autonomy that makes these weapons jam-resistant also makes them inflexible. Once the drone commits to its final dive, most models can't abort. The Shahed 136, Iran's infamous one-way attack drone, has no abort capability whatsoever. Once it's committed, it's hitting something. Here's something that will surprise you. Many loitering munitions don't actually lock on in the traditional sense. They're not tracking a heat signature or radar return. They're tracking a visual shape. Change that shape dramatically. Throw a tarp over a vehicle, pop smoke, and some models lose track entirely. The fix: more expensive models like the Switchblade 600 have dual seekers, electro-optical for daylight, infrared for heat signatures. Lose one, and the other takes over. But that pushes the price from $6,000 toward $115,000. Now here's the question you should be asking. If the operator has to stay connected until the final moments, doesn't that make them a target? The concept came from an Israeli engineer named Abe Karim in the 1970s. He'd already pioneered the Predator drone, but he saw a different future. Why separate the reconnaissance drone from the weapon? Why not combine them into something that could watch, wait, and strike? Industry insiders called the idea tactically suicidal. A drone that destroys itself? Absurd economics. Karim ignored them. He built a small prototype held together with commercial electronics and sheer stubbornness. When it worked, when a $10,000 drone struck a target that would have required a $500,000 missile, the insiders stopped laughing. The economics spoke for themselves. Here's the uncomfortable math. A Javelin anti-tank missile costs about $178,000 per shot. A Switchblade 300 costs around $6,000. For the price of one Javelin, you could buy nearly 30 Switchblades. But there are trade-offs. Range is limited. Most loitering munitions top out at 25 to 50 miles from the operator, compared to hundreds of miles for a cruise missile. The data link demands bandwidth, and in a contested electronic warfare environment, that link is the vulnerability. Weather matters too. Heavy rain degrades the video feed. Fog blinds the terminal seeker. A $2 million cruise missile with radar guidance doesn't care about clouds. A $6,000 camera drone does. And here's something that will surprise you. The explosive payload on most small loitering munitions is tiny. A Switchblade 300 carries less than a pound of explosive, barely enough to disable a single target. The Switchblade 600, with its anti-tank warhead, carries about 15 pounds. Compare that to a Hellfire missile's 20-pound warhead. These aren't bunker busters. They're scalpels. Now here's the crucial point. The thing that changes everything you think you know about these weapons. Everyone focuses on the targeting technology, the seekers, the AI, the guidance systems. But the real innovation isn't how loitering munitions find their targets. It's that they don't have to find them at all. Traditional missiles race against time. They have seconds to acquire and destroy. The target has that same window to hide, to move, to deploy countermeasures. Loitering munitions erase that window entirely. They turn a 30-second targeting problem into a 6-hour surveillance operation. They can wait until the target makes a mistake, starts an engine, opens a hatch, moves into the open, not heat-seeking, not radar-guided, not AI-powered, patient. That's the word that matters. They're not smart weapons. They're patient weapons, and patience, it turns out, is far more lethal. Ukraine has proven this devastatingly. In the first 2 years of the war, Ukrainian forces destroyed over 3,000 Russian armored vehicles, a significant portion by loitering munitions and FPV drones. Some of these strikes cost less than $500. A Ukrainian drone commander told Reuters something that should concern every military planner on Earth. "We wait, sometimes for hours. The Russians know we're watching, but they have to move eventually. And when they do, we're already there." Azerbaijan demonstrated the same principle in the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war. Israeli-made Harop drones loitered over Armenian positions for hours, waiting for air defense systems to power up and reveal themselves. Then they struck. The crews never saw it coming. 1 minute of impatience, 1 moment of exposure. That was enough. So next time someone tells you suicide drones use advanced AI targeting, you'll know the truth. They're not smart. They're patient. And patience is a weapon nobody knows how to defend against. Speaking of weapons that shouldn't work, next video, we're going underground. How do bunker buster bombs actually destroy facilities buried under 200 feet of reinforced concrete? The physics gets genuinely absurd. You won't want to miss it. But first, which principle surprised you most? Time as a weapon, human in the loop targeting, or terminal autonomy? Drop your answer in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.